Navigating the complex world of modern dating can feel like trying to decode a high-stakes puzzle, especially when a man decides to hide his feelings behind a perfectly crafted shield of indifference. It is a classic romantic dilemma. You feel an undeniable spark. The chemistry between you is palpable, and your intuition is screaming that there is something deeper beneath the surface. Yet his outward behavior remains entirely breezy, detached, and frustratingly casual. This hot and cold dynamic is rarely a sign of actual disinterest. Rather, it is a highly strategic defense mechanism. When a man secretly develops deep feelings for you but is acting completely nonchalant, he is usually battling a wave of intense vulnerabilities. He might be terrified of facing potential rejection, worried about jeopardizing an existing friendship, or simply trying to protect his ego until he is absolutely certain that his feelings are actively reciprocated. As a result, he adopts a laid-back, just one of the friends persona to keep his emotional cards close to his chest while remaining firmly in your orbit. However, no matter how hard a man tries to suppress his true emotions and play it cool, human psychology and evolutionary biology always win the battle against conscious control. True attraction is a powerful physical and neurological response that cannot be fully hidden. It leaks out through microscopic cracks in a person's behavior, body language, and subconscious habits. While he might successfully control the direct words coming out of his mouth, he cannot control the rush of adrenaline that spikes his nervous system when you walk into the room. Nor can he easily manipulate the involuntary movements of his feet, eyes, and hands. He might think he is pulling off the ultimate act of casual indifference, but his subconscious mind is constantly working overtime to bridge the gap between you two. The secret to uncovering his true intentions lies entirely in your ability to read between the lines and look past his relaxed exterior, to help you cut through the confusing mixed signals and find out exactly where you stand. We have compiled a definitive list of 15 subtle, psychological tells that prove he is deeply into you. These signs range from the way he handles physical space and manages eye contact to the secret ways his voice shifts and his digital habits betray his excitement. By understanding these micro-behaviors, you will gain the clarity you need to decode his true romantic intentions. Let's dive deep into the absolute telltale signs that a guy is harboring a massive secret crush on you, even when he is trying his absolute best to act completely casual. He remembers the tiny, insignificant details. When a guy is trying to play it cool, his memory usually gives him away. He might pretend he isn't paying close attention, but he will casually bring up a minor detail you mentioned weeks ago. This could be your favorite childhood snack, a specific song you love, or a random story about your coworker. In a normal platonic friendship, people tend to filter out these trivial pieces of information because their minds are occupied elsewhere. However, because he secretly harbors deep feelings for you, his brain actively internalizes every single word that comes out of your mouth. He processes your conversations with intense focus, storing away these small facts like valuable treasures. When he later references them seamlessly in casual conversation, it proves that you hold a massive amount of mental real estate in his head, completely shattering his laid-back facade. His body language naturally aligns toward you. A man can control his words and facial expressions, but his subconscious body language is incredibly difficult to manipulate. Even when he is acting completely indifferent, his physical stance will naturally gravitate toward you. If you observe him closely in a room full of people, you will notice that his shoulders, chest, and feet are almost always pointed directly in your direction. This is an involuntary physiological response known as fronting, which indicates high interest, comfort, and a strong desire to connect with someone. Even if he is actively engaged in a conversation with someone else on the opposite side of the room, his lower body will often remain oriented toward your position. It is a silent evolutionary cue that shows he is entirely focused on you, making his casual attitude nothing more than a temporary shield to hide his true romantic intentions. He initiates light, subtle physical contact. Physical touch is a massive indicator of attraction, but when a guy wants to keep things low-key, he will make these interactions look entirely accidental or platonic. He will look for any subtle excuse to bridge the physical gap between you two without raising any immediate alarms. This includes a lingering high five, a playful nudge of the shoulder when you make a joke, or gently guiding you through a crowded room by brushing his hand against your lower back. He might also carefully brush a stray hair away from your face or fix a twisted collar on your jacket. These fleeting moments of contact are highly strategic. They allow him to test your comfort levels and feel close to you, without having to declare his feelings openly. If his touch seems intentional yet always masked as casual, he is definitely fighting a hidden attraction. He steals frequent glances and looks away quickly. If you ever catch him staring at you from across a crowded room, only for him to rapidly look away or pretend he was scanning the environment, you are witnessing classic casual acting behavior. When a man secretly likes you, he genuinely cannot help but look at you because he finds you incredibly captivating. However, because he is terrified of making his feelings obvious or facing potential rejection, he avoids prolonged, intense eye contact at all costs. Instead, he opts for frequent, covert glances to check on what you are doing, who you are talking to, or how you are reacting to a situation. The moment your eyes meet his, panic sets in, and he immediately snaps his gaze to the floor, his phone, or another person. This hot and cold visual dynamic is a surefire sign that he is intensely drawn to you. He frequently appears in your immediate proximity. When someone is secretly attracted to you, coincidence suddenly seems to happen all the time. You will notice that no matter where you go in a social setting, he somehow manages to end up right next to you or directly across from you. If you go to grab a drink, he suddenly realizes he is thirsty too. If you move to a different seating area, he conveniently finds a reason to migrate to that exact spot a few minutes later. While he will laugh it off as a funny quirk or pure happenstance, these movements are actually highly deliberate. He is actively positioning himself within your personal bubble because he wants to maximize his chances of interacting with you. By constantly maintaining close proximity, he ensures that he is always available for a casual chat, hoping that fate will naturally bring you two closer together. His voice tone shifts when speaking directly to you. A man's vocal cords will often betray his attempt to act cool and casual. When he shifts his attention from a general group to you, his voice will undergo a noticeable transformation. Subconsciously, a man's pitch tends to drop to a deeper, more resonant tone when speaking to someone he is highly attracted to, which is an evolutionary drive to project masculinity and dominance. Conversely, if he is particularly nervous about his hidden feelings, his voice might slightly crack or soften into a gentler, more intimate register. You will notice that he speaks to you with a level of warmth and undivided focus that is entirely missing from his interactions with others. Even if the conversation is about something completely ordinary, the underlying melody of his voice becomes highly personalized, proving that you trigger a unique emotional response inside him. He asks deep, open-ended questions disguised as casual chat. When a guy is trying to play it low-key, he will avoid intense, dramatic confessions, but he will simultaneously crave a deeper connection with you. To achieve this, he will ask thought-provoking, open-ended questions about your life, values, and dreams, but he will always frame them as relaxed, passing thoughts. He might throw out a phrase like, "I was just wondering, what's your ultimate goal in life?" Or, "What's your biggest fear?" And then quickly shrug it off as a random conversational pivot. This tactic allows him to peel back the layers of your personality and understand who you truly are without making it feel like a formal interrogation or a date. He listens intently to your answers, collecting vital information about your soul while maintaining a perfectly nonchalant exterior. So he never risks exposing his vulnerability. He removes physical barriers between you during conversations. When you are sitting or standing near him, keep a close eye on the inanimate objects separating you two. A man who secretly likes you will unconsciously clear the physical space between you to foster a sense of closeness. If there is a coffee mug, a pillow, a backpack, or a menu sitting on the table between you, he will casually move it to the side. Physical barriers represent psychological distance, and someone who is harboring romantic feelings will naturally want those obstacles gone. By clearing the line of sight and removing physical blockades, he is opening up his personal space to welcome you in, even though he might be leaning back in his chair acting completely relaxed and indifferent. This subtle environmental manipulation shows that he desires an uninterrupted, transparent connection with you. He matches and mirrors your energy, pace, and gestures. Mirroring is one of the most powerful, involuntary signs of psychological comfort and intense romantic attraction. When a guy is deeply into you, his subconscious mind will automatically copy your physical movements and speech patterns to build rapport. If you lean forward on your elbows, he will lean forward a few moments later. If you take a sip of your drink, cross your legs, or use specific hand gestures while telling a story, you will notice him doing the exact same thing. He might even adopt your specific slang, catchphrases, or texting style. While he is trying his absolute best to act casual and distant on the surface, his brain is working overtime to synchronize completely with yours. This natural mimicry is a dead giveaway that he is deeply tuned into your presence. He shows subtle signs of nervousness or fidgeting around you. No matter how smooth or cool a guy tries to act, adrenaline is an incredibly difficult force to suppress. When a man is secretly attracted to you, being in your presence spikes his nervous system, causing uncontrollable microbehaviors. You might notice him constantly adjusting his clothing, running his hands through his hair, smoothing down his shirt, or playing with his watch or phone. He might also display subtle facial tics, like biting his lip, blinking more frequently, or clearing his throat repeatedly. These fidgety actions are a direct manifestation of his internal anxiety. He is terrified of making a mistake, saying the wrong thing, or revealing his true feelings. His smooth-talking, casual persona is constantly battling against his raw, physical nervousness, and his restless hands will always reveal the secret truth. He hardcore defends and supports you, even in jest. When a guy is trying to keep things casual, he might participate in friendly group teasing, but he will never let anyone genuinely disrespect or upset you. The moment someone goes a bit too far or a situation becomes uncomfortable for you, his protective instincts will instantly override his nonchalant persona. He will quickly step in to defend you, smooth things over with a protective joke, or naturally redirect the entire conversation away from you. He wants to ensure you always feel completely safe and valued whenever he is around. Even in light-hearted debates where everyone is picking sides, he will almost always default to backing up your arguments, no matter how ridiculous they might be. This fierce loyalty shows that your emotional well-being is his absolute priority. Proving his casual attitude is just a front. He acts differently around you than in a group dynamic. One of the clearest indicators of hidden feelings is a stark contrast in his behavior. Depending on the setting, when you are hanging out in a large crowd of mutual friends, he might act incredibly detached, highly independent, and purely casual to keep up appearances. However, the exact moment the two of you are left completely alone, his entire demeanor shifts. He becomes noticeably softer, far more attentive, and significantly more willing to share personal stories or listen to yours. This sudden change occurs because the pressure to maintain his cool, indifferent reputation drops when the audience is gone. If he treats you like just one of the guys in public, but transforms into an incredibly attentive, gentle confidant, the second you are alone, he is deeply invested in you. He teases you playfully to mask his true intentions. When a man is terrified of making his romantic feelings obvious, he will often revert to the classic, age-old tactic of playful teasing. He will gently make fun of your quirks, laugh at the way you pronounce certain words, or give you a ridiculous, highly personalized nickname. This juvenile behavior acts as a brilliant smokescreen. It allows him to interact with you constantly, create inside jokes, and build intense emotional chemistry without ever having to risk a serious, vulnerable conversation. It gives him a perfect safety net. If you ever suspect he likes you, he can easily laugh it off as just friendly, brotherly banter. Pay close attention to his eyes when he teases you, because if he is constantly checking to see if you are smiling, he is completely hooked. He details his future plans and gauges your reaction. A guy who is trying to play it cool will never openly ask you to be a permanent part of his future, but he will subtly audition you for the role. During casual conversations, he will drop hints about his long-term goals, upcoming vacations or career moves, and then immediately look at you to see how you respond. He might say something like, "I'm thinking about checking out that new restaurant next month," or "I really want to see this movie when it drops," leaving the door wide open for you to jump in. By sharing his future timeline, he is secretly trying to figure out if your plans align with his. He is testing the waters to see if you show interest in being included, allowing him to plan a future with you safely. He is exceptionally quick to respond to your texts. In the modern digital dating world, response time is a massive indicator of where you rank on someone's priority list. A man who claims he is totally casual and detached will often try to play the waiting game, but his excitement will eventually ruin his strategy. If you notice that he consistently replies to your text messages, within minutes or even seconds, he is eagerly staring at his phone waiting for your name to pop up. He might try to keep his actual text messages short, relaxed and breezy to maintain his cool exterior. But the sheer speed of his replies gives his true feelings away. He values his connection with you far too much to risk losing. your attention, by playing silly mind games, proving you are his top priority.